This is from Pete. Pete. I won't talk bad about Pete. Pete's having a hard time, but Pete seems to like drugs. Anyways, Pete killed this thing. This is originally an NVX, which is Sonic Electronics. It's their house brand called NVX. This is the NVX VCW152. So, and of course, what this is a triple stack knockoff of the Soundstream SPLX. So, knowing Nate, the owner of Sonic Electronics, he probably did not ask permission from Epsilon Group if he could use this frame, because this tooling belongs to them. Now, it does look great that he did the diamond cut. This is called diamond cutting, even though it's probably just carbide, whatever, diamond. They just put it on a lathe and then they just kind of graze it, and it gives this really nice ridged finish. Looks really good. This is the triple stack version, which is not that far off from the previous versions, which was the T4. And then they had a triple stack version of the T5. And then the most recent versions are the T7, which is actually the MoFo motor. But anyways, so I had made this as a Soundstream, ode to Soundstream, because it's not really, there's like 0 Soundstream parts on this thing. So, but again, what is a brand? What is Soundstream parts? What does all that mean when it all comes from China anyway? So, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and recover the cap as best I can. If I can't, then he was like, fuck it, I don't care. But I am out of this cone. This is what we call the Blackjack cone under a parts brand that I started called Blackjack Audio, and which was just like solely meant for soft parts. And the idea is that you can buy a soft part and then double your money. So get it, Blackjack, even though technically Blackjack pays usually 1.5, but I didn't want to get into semantics over a fucking name. Anyways, but this is a double stitch tall roll rubber. It's from a company called Tian Li, is the actual factory maker, but you don't want to contact Tian Li because they will take your money and then not give you anything. Not that they're bad, just sometimes I've had that happen twice to me. The sales guys are, I don't know, creepy, something. They're disappointed that I don't make a large $100,000 order. It's like, okay, because you don't want to build trust or anything like that. So you have to usually deal with a middleman, what's also known as a build house, even though they may not build anything in that house. But what they end up calling them is brokers. And so that's who you find through Alibaba, is maybe like a broker. And what's funny is, it's all remote, it's all virtual. So it may be just an avatar, where it's like one of my amp lady is named Tina. Like I could be talking to, Mike, like it doesn't matter. Like to me, I think I'm talking to Tina, and you'll see that on a lot of Alibaba things. Is typically you get better results from most people as far as customers go if they think they're dealing with a woman, right? Because people, not that people are sexist, but women are less threatening. So they tend to use women or images of women, not in a bad way, but just a way to provide comfort. So, and I don't mean to trigger anybody about comfort Asian women either. This is fucking lame. Anyways, this is a great sub. Soundstream, the original SPLX rated the 15 at 1250 RMS, which is a very good conservative rating. Typically, these actually end up doing about 1500, which is good. You want to have that sort of give way for a little bit of abuse, right? Because you guys are fucking maniacs. You guys abuse these, and you shouldn't, but you do. And if you read any warranty, it's going to say burnt coils and burnt tensils are never a defect. So anytime you burn them, that's your fault. That's not my fault. That's not Soundstream's fault. That's not anybody's fault but yours. Yours alone. Be responsible. Say, you got me. I'm a liar. And say that, or don't, and just fucking don't bitch when I have to charge you. So, but as far as reconing and repair in your neck of the woods, typically what I charge is about $150. Lately, I've been charging $165 because there's an increase in like everything, and not that I agree with it because it's horrible, but that's fucking the way it goes. Like I'm getting ready to go buy like 10 sheets of MDF for $48 a sheet because my wholesale guy can't get any. So I got to go down to fucking Home Depot and just buy out everything, and then piss off anybody that wants to buy any MDF that day. So, this one is a standard 3-inch coil. The original from Soundstream Epsilon group used a, I think it was just a 4-layer aluminum coil, but I did like the wine height on it, which was 50 millimeter, right around 2 inches. You don't need that much wine height. I mean, it is nice. It does help have a little more stroke over the BL. Have a little more BL over the stroke. So, but typically your maximum BL is when the woofer is within that level of excursion, not that. So usually that, which is like about 1 inch. Anything outside of that is like just free gravy, like good for you. But it uses one thing I really love about this frame is that there's plenty of clamp points. In fact, in the wide sections, you can put 2 clamps, and in the narrow sections, you can put 1 clamp. And I usually, when I do them, I usually remove the terminals so that way I can put 2 clamps there. Again, it's just hedging my bets. Back to repairs, you want to make sure that you don't charge too much. You can be a dick, right? But how do I put this in a way for you guys to understand? Like, so if you go to a prostitute and she's like, well, normally I charge $300. You're like, oh, this fucking bitch. But I'm going to let you do it for like $150. You know, you're like, okay, whatever. Just fucking, let's do this. So you're a little frustrated, and chances are you'll never go back because you just don't want to hear that shit. So you want to be a good service provider and not charge too much. So your markup on these, even at lower to base prices, I think the coil is anywhere, depending on which one version you use, is anywhere, it's no more than $36 shipped, because that's what I charge for ours, which is the 8-layer, which fits. And then the cone is like 15 to 20, and then the spider is like 10 to 15, no more than 15. You don't necessarily want to use a sturdy, thick, I think they sell a 3-layer. You don't want to use that because then the FS goes up too high. You can punish it more, but that doesn't necessarily mean effectiveness, meaning loudness or increased excursion. In fact, the stiffer it is, the less excursion you get, because now you have to really crank up the power in order to get what you're supposed to get anyway, which on this one with an 8-inch spider, you get about 2.5-inch excursion ex mechanical, which means that's the maximum excursion available. It is kind of noisy. It's not like clean at all, or, you know, there's a lot of mechanical noise, but it can do it. So, but, and that is very standard for a lot of these motors with a 3-inch coil and an 8-inch spider. But as far as the back goes, that's polished chrome. That's very nice. But they tend to get scratched up easy. So most don't do it because people will send it back for a scratch, which is fucking lame. But don't be surprised if you get cut off either. So, but I had already talked to them. We got some of the, I think they're Phi cones. It's like a mega roll, but it's not quite. It's more shallow, which I like, so that way it fits more frames. The other thing I like about this frame is that it has the ability for quad terminals. This particular version, no, it does. I was going to say this particular version doesn't have it, but it does. See, 1, 2, and then on the other side, 3, 4. So again, that is Epsilon Group's tooled up frame in China. That is meant for quad coil back in the olden time days. I think they probably made something called the Tarantula. It was when they were really kind of trying to define what that means, and whatever, it's marketing. You got to sometimes figure it out as you go. But I think that was all I wanted to talk about for that. Again, the recone that I charge is $165, and then I back it up with a 3-year warranty, which typically nobody does. I don't know why, because if you use it within parameters, it actually lasts 10 years. So now if I give it a 10-year warranty, that's a little long, you know. Like, I guess if you marry a child bride, you know, let's say 15, right? She's a little long in the tooth. And then you wait 10 years, then she's not a child anymore, and then you're all disappointed. I think that was like it was funny, that was like the punchline for some episode of SVU, where the girl that this guy stole escaped, and I guess tried to use, or Ice-T or one of them, tried to use the girl to talk to the guy to find out where the other girls were hidden. And she goes and talks to him, and she's like, "It's me." And he's like, "Get away from me, old person." And she was like in her 20s. But it was hilarious. So, but you don't want to be married to a woofer that long for 10 years. Lloyd Ivy was probably the only one crazy enough, or maybe high on cocaine enough to say that. And then, of course, quickly, it was not, I don't want to say honored, but it was, you changed the line quickly. A lot of companies do that. I saw that recently at Walmart where they had a brand. I forget the name of the brand. It was just some brand of tool using lithium batteries and things like that. And then about the 2 years in, 3 years in, when some of the warranties should be coming due, it was they changed the brand. So they just then technically they went with another vendor, right? Because usually what they do is the company then belongs to like a vice president or somebody like that. Walmart and Home Depot all do the same thing, where like their house brand razor blades are made by this company or whatever, and then they own a part of that. It's so-and-so LLC. It's dumb, and they're kind of hiding from stuff. Sometimes they, like in the movie industry, they'll give somebody like a producer credit in order to pay them, which is actually smarter, because then that way they're not liable for the taxes and some other stuff. But that happens a lot in industry where, or sometimes like even if you win a lawsuit settlement, you can, you'll get paid that way, where they're like, look, we'll give you this contract, and it's fucking lucrative. It's fucking great. So I think that was it for that. I love you guys. I will talk to you later. That is the Soundstream / NVX 152.